Hello, hello. Mm. Yo, what up, everybody? It is your girl, Melissa. Woo, woo. Y'all, it is Friday. And let me tell you, TGIF, thank goodness, thank God, thank googly loogly that it is Friday, okay? I got my water. Yes, you should be happy. Today, I have my water. I'm minding my business. Okay, I wasn't minding my business today. I was actually listening to everybody else's business today. But I have my water, so your girl is doing good, okay? Melissa, like Michelet says on here, Melissa 2.0. Come on, somebody. All right, so we're Melissa 2.0 today. Only today, just for today. That's it. That's it. Just for today. But you know, I'm excited to have you guys on today, and we are doing things a little bit different today. I was gonna take a drink, but you know, we're there. Okay. Well, today's something interesting. You know, before we get into today's topic, before we start on our amazing platform, right? Today I ran into Miles, the Bronco mascot, and let me tell you, I asked him about the Super Bowl, and he was just, you know, kind of disappointed like I was. It was sad. It was a sad moment, y'all. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have asked the question. You can go watch the story. I posted it. But you know, your girl, being from Ignite, had to ask him the question. Had to get down to it. So, Super Bowl weekend, even though our beloved Broncos are not in the Super Bowl, you know, we're just not even going to talk about our Broncos. But we love them, okay? Good for today's show, because we still love them. We forgive them. And, yeah, that's how it is. So, you know. All right, y'all. So, yeah, we're going to get into this. We're going to give them love and forgiveness. But as you know, today, we're going to be talking about, guys, as you know, Melissa has Talk About It Tuesdays. So those of you who are new to Ignite with Melissa, every Tuesday I have a subject or a question that I ask y'all, and we talk about it, right? And so today we are going to be discussing about our Talk About It Tuesday, which, if you did not listen to Talk About It Tuesday, shame on you. I'm just kidding. Or am I? Anyway, go listen to it. It's about like 8 minutes long. It's not very long. But to give you a recap, okay, we talked on Talk About It Tuesday. We talked about a guy named Jose and this girl that he met. Her name was Gomez. Jose is like this influencer speaker guy, you know, has an influence that reaches the world. Gomez is from the streets, right? If you know what I mean, Gomez is from the streets. And so him and Gomez, they get married. They have kids together, 2 boys and a girl, and life is going good. They are like relationship goals, right? Hashtag relationship goals, what we all talk about, what we all say. And so, you know, so one day, you know, Jose, he woke up. Gomez was gone, like he was checking everywhere for her. and she was just up and gone. Okay, and so I'm giving you kind of like the whole story, but in shorter terms of what was Tuesday. So anyways, his best friend Jesus was like, bro, like, here's the plan. You need to go find your wife, and marry her again. And Jose is like, como say, what? Like, I gotta go find her and marry her again. Yes, bro, go look for her. All right. So then Jose is out in the streets where people of his, status don't go, looking for his wife Gomez, right? And then all of a sudden he finds her, but when he finds her, she's being sold, right? And so the guy who is selling his wife, he buys back from her. Like, he already paid for what was already his, right? Come on, somebody. Like, so he buys her back, takes her back home, let's have a talk, like, Gomez, you're not going to be scandalous no more. And, he's like, but here's the kicker, I'm going to do the same for you. Like, what? Okay, so we had this whole discussion on Tuesday, but we're going to talk about what demonstration of love do you think that is? What type of demonstration of love is that? Like, sometimes we think of just that situation, and we're like, what the heck? Like, that guy is crazy. Like, I would never forgive her for going out and leaving me and my kids and, doing what she did. And then there's other people who said, well, yeah, I would forgive her. And so, what are your opinions? Would you forgive somebody, whether, guys, if it was a girl and that did that to you, would you forgive her? Like, could you forgive her? What kind of love is that? Like, do you love her that much that you know that you're going to make it work with her? Or vice versa, like, guys, girls, if your guy did that to you, I think, okay, I'm going to just speak for myself, right? Because I've had relationships like that where, the guys cheated on me and, I took him back, and after all that he did, because I loved him that much to want to work things out with him. And so, guys and girls, what would you do? All right, we're getting in some answers here. Okay, it's like an unimaginable, overtaking, breathtaking love. Yes. Unimaginable love. That is, yes, unimaginable. And, it is unimaginable because, at the end of our Talk About It Tuesday, it was, we asked, like, what kind of love that is, and we asked, who would go in, like, those most despicable places, right? The lowest of the lows of, like, what we would call them, to go find you, to go pay a price for you, and, still love you the way that you did. That's very unimaginable. And yes, breathtaking, because can you imagine, you're being sold out on the streets and your husband comes find you and he buys you back? Like, you're still married to each other. Like, you never got a divorce. You're still married to each other. And even though, like, she was already his, he still paid for her. Like, do you know somebody who would pay a price for you? Or would you pay a price for somebody? Like, that is an unimaginable love, right? Like, if you sit there and think about it, what type of love really is that? Hey Sam, thank you for tuning in. And yes, full of smiles. Whoop whoop. Shout out to Sam Sierra out there in KUHS Landia. Nicholas Payne for tuning in. Misha Lay. Also, guys, if you have questions or you want to talk about a love that you had or a time you gave forgiveness, the phone lines are open today, and you can call at 720-386-0513. Let me repeat that again, 720-386-0513. So let me hear from you, the people. Have you forgiven someone, maybe not so much in a romantic relationship, but maybe you've forgiven somebody in a friendship? Like maybe someone really hurt you in a friendship. Maybe it was a family member that hurt you. Have you given them that type of love and that type of forgiveness where you're like, you know what, let's work things out. I love you enough that, no matter what you did, I'm going to turn around and love you and forgive you. What are your thoughts on love and forgiveness? Is it hard for you to forgive somebody? Is it hard for you to love somebody? There's so much in depth here, right? And, speaking from, let's see, hold on. Let's close this. All right. That means, okay, caller, here we go. Hello, you are on Ignite with Melissa. Who do I have the pleasure of talking to? Hey, Nick, how's it going? All right, so we're talking about love and forgiveness today. And so, whether it's about the story from the Talk About It Tuesday or you experiencing your own love and forgiveness, what type of love do you think that is? Agape, unconditional love. So if you guys don't know what agape means, agape does mean, let me see if I could turn you up here. Can you say hello, Nick, really quick?
Hello. I think I'm watching you on the laptop and it's off. I think I might be watching you a couple minutes ago.
Okay, I don't know if you guys can hear him. Michele says that, okay, she can't really hear you.
Okay, somebody could hear me.
All right, yeah. There we go. I got it. Your girl sometimes screws up.
Control your mic.
Oh, okay. Let's see. This one? Right here. Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me? Those of you? Okay, we said yes, it's better. All right, you can hear Nick. Okay. So for those of you that don't know what agape means unconditional, like an unconditional love. And so speaking of an unconditional love, has somebody ever, given you that unconditional love, or have you ever forgiven somebody who, might have hurt you? Oh, let's see. Hold on, I think we lost him. Okay, we'll see if we could get him back on. But talking about agape love, right? Unconditional love. And so, we have another on here. Yes, too many times, Nicole, too many times on forgiving. Let's elaborate on that a little bit. And I know what that means, right? Sometimes we forgive too much. Do you think there's too much forgiveness? Do you think that there's a limit to your forgiveness? That's a good question, right? I think sometimes we think that, that there's just a certain amount of times of forgiveness. So do you think there is a limit to forgiveness? We're going to see if they could come in. Sorry, Nick, I'm not sure what's going on. We'll try and get you back on. But do you think there is a limit to forgiveness? Anybody? Okay. And do you ever regret not forgiving somebody? It could be in relationships, right? And not just romantically, but like friendships with your family. And forgiveness, yes, there is a limit, says Nick. What puts a limit on forgiveness? Let me ask you that question. What puts a limit on forgiveness? Do you think, what is your limit on forgiveness? I'm interested to know that. Let's talk about that. Yeah, we're having issues, Nick. We're going to try and get it back on here. Let's see. Okay, for some reason it's not coming back on. Yes, okay. Let's see. Michelet says it is forgiveness or complacency. So elaborate on that. On complacency, like what is the difference between the two in your eyes? And Sam says unconditional love is easier said than done. Yes, it is. It is. Only God can easily love like that. And yes, very true. God has an unconditional type of love for us, and as we talked about in the story, right, about who would go out and look for you in those despicable places. And it's the same thing with God, right? Like God looks for us. Like we don't pursue God, like God pursues us, right? And God will go to those deepest places, like where no one will else go, right? Like in the streets, in the trap house, he'll go find you at your broken moment. Maybe you're in a bed with somebody, maybe in alcoholism, maybe you're in that bottle real deep, whatever it might be, depression, whatever it is, like God will go down in those deepest places and look for you because he loves you that much. And yes, that unconditional agape love. Okay, Michelet says we can forgive and have healthy boundaries. Yes, we can definitely forgive. And I think sometimes, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe sometimes we think that, once we forgive somebody, like we have to be friends with them again, or we have to be like jump back in like wherever we were. Just because you forgive somebody doesn't mean you have to go back to it. You can still forgive somebody and love somebody and keep them at a distance. I'm going to love you. I'm going to pray for you. But you're not healthy for me, so I got to keep you apart, right? And I think sometimes we forget that you can still forgive. And even if it's towards you, maybe you're the person who is not healthy for somebody else. But they love you, they pray for you, they forgive you, but they just can't be there, right? There's those healthy boundaries of, of forgiveness and love. So yes, forgive and have healthy boundaries. Let's see. Nicole says she doesn't honestly think that there is a limit, but some people mistake your kindness for weakness. Yes. And I agree with that because I think some people, and I'll just use me for an example, right? A lot of people say, well, you're a believer, like you believe in God, like you're a Christian, and, you have, like, they kind of run over you and kind of like an abusive way, right? Thinking like you have to take everything that they do towards you, or and you still love them and forgive them, but they think that like you don't have feelings, that you are not human for some reason, and that you have to keep putting up with their abuse. And you don't. You still forgive them. Yes, I agree with that. Like there's not a limit to forgiveness. I don't believe that there's a limit. You should constantly forgive. I do believe in that wholeheartedly. But they don't have to take your kindness, your loving heart, your forgiveness, and turn around and throw it in your face, right? Let's see. A mother knows unconditional love for her children, although there are exceptions. My mom loves me unconditionally, and so does my grandma. Awesome. Bible says to forgive 7 times 70. Can people pull that off? Yes. And, some people might be like the mathematicians, right? Like 7 times 70 is this amount of times. And, like, no, it's not that it's actually like count that many times and that's how many times you have to forgive, right? 7 times 70. I think in greater context, what that it means, like after a while, you start losing count, right? Like the point is to always forgive and keep forgiving, unconditionally. There's also a scripture in Bible, as all of you know, like I'm really bad at remembering like where it is. But as I always tell you, just read your whole Bible. It's somewhere in there between Genesis and Revelation. Okay, somebody. But, those that forgive much, or that have been forgiven much also forgive much. And I believe that very true. And okay, so Jesus lives within, and his love for us is unconditional. Jesus set boundaries. Yes, yes. Okay, taking my kindness for weakness is a mistake. They taught me that on the streets. All right. Yeah, so I love that Sam brought that up about, the Bible says to forgive 7 times 70. And, if we think about it, again, there's those people that will be mathematical wizards, right? Like, it is so much amount of times. But, again, the whole thought behind it is to lose that count, right? Like, it's such a grand number that you just don't count anymore, that you just keep forgiving. And you just keep loving. Let's see. You can forgive, but you'll never forget. Yeah, it's very true, very true. And 490, there you go. And so, one of the things about forgiveness, though, too, and I kind of want to highlight on that, is because I think sometimes we do put limits on our forgiveness. Even though we say we don't, sometimes we do put a limit on our forgiveness. But when we hold on forgiveness in our heart, right, it's not hurting the other person at all, right? It is only hurting us because we hold on to that and we harbor that, and that person could already be over whatever it was, a little argument like you spilt water on my brand new shoes, or I'm just trying to use something simple. I know there's like more drastic things out there, but little things then that like we hold on to, and like over the years, like that person's already forgotten about it, but you haven't forgiven them, and you just keep holding on to that, and it's making you bitter. It's hurting you inside, and you not letting it go and you not forgiving. It's hurting you more than it is hurting them. And so forgiveness is really huge, guys. And like Sam said, yes, it's easier said than done. And I know that from experience. With my brother, me and him didn't have the best relationship later on in life. There's a lot of things that we disagreed about, and just, it wasn't well. Like, there were a lot of things there that just, a lot of hurt, right? And holding on to that hurt from things that happened from years ago, like long time ago, and still holding on to that, and still not being able to forgive, and and not letting it go. And it was like constantly holding on to that, like, like, well, he did this to me, and I'm not going to talk to him. And this went on for years, and holding on to those little petty things, right, and not forgiveness, like I said. And I can just tell you from personal experience, like, holding on to that stuff does nothing but hurt you and destroys you from the inside. When my brother passed away last July, there was so much unforgiveness between both of us. And when he passed away, it was like, man, like, I can never ask my brother for forgiveness for the way I acted towards him. You know, I mean, we both had our faults with each other, but I can never go back and ask him, you know, for forgiveness. And I can never, you know, say those words again. I held on to so much from when we were younger till up until the day he passed away, you know, and it's like holding all that into your heart, and it just making you so just like not a good person. Like, it makes you such an ugly person inside. And the thing is that even now that he's passed away, you know, like, it's like holding on to it, right? So now you can never say anything, and it's like, I can't ever go back. So now I have even more to hold on to than what I did, right? But one of the things, you know, for me is that, like, you know, I had to come to God and ask God for forgiveness. You know, like, I asked forgiveness of my brother. You know, I know he's not here, but I still had to ask him for forgiveness. You know, like, just between me and him, and, you know, at his gravesite, and just, you know, I hope you forgive me, brother. I hope that somehow, someday you can hear me and know that I loved you. And holding on to all that unforgiveness did nothing but hurt both of us. And so, you know, we have to learn to let things go and be able to forgive people. You know, and one of the things too is sometimes we are not always going to be able to go up to a person and ask them for forgiveness, right? There are some people that you'll never get that opportunity to, but one thing that you can do is ask God for forgiveness and make it, you know, find a way, even if you have to message them, even if they never reply to you, and just ask for forgiveness, you know. And once you ask for that and you let it go, like, you did your part, right? You did what you needed to do with a pure heart, truly asking for forgiveness, and then just go on from there. Forgiveness is so powerful, and again, not for you or not for them so much as it is for you. You know, forgiveness can change everything. Forgiveness can change the trajectory of a relationship, can change the trajectory of a family and the way it goes. It can change so many things with just forgiveness. And so, you know, speaking on forgiveness, and let's see. Michele, yes, I tell you, her sins, and they are many, have been forgiven. So she has shown much love, but a person who is forgiven little shows only little love. Yes, so Luke 7:47. Thank you so much, girl, for finding that. Again, I'm really bad. I know I'm in my head. I'm just really bad at memorizing, and that's one of my goals this year, is to get better at memorizing scriptures, because I'm really bad at it. I know what it says. I know where it's at if I go look for it myself. You know, it's kind of the same thing. Okay, totally off subject, but it's kind of the same thing with, like, directions. I've lived in my same town for my whole entire life. Still don't know the street names. I'm just like, you know, like, if you pass this part and make a right, you're there. But if you go past too far on this part, like, you're not going to be there. Step back a little bit. And they're like, don't you know the street names? No, just follow those, okay? Just follow the landmarks. I know how to get there. So it's kind of like the same thing in the Bible. I know where it's at. I can find it and show it to you if I have the Bible right here in front of me. But trying to memorize, like, it off the top of my head, yeah, okay. Your girl got distracted. But let me tell you, that's what I feel like. But yes, it is so true, right? Because if you have been forgiven multiple times, just to put this in context, if you have been forgiven multiple times, you forgive more, right? If you've been shown forgiveness a lot, you're going to forgive a lot. And let me tell you, okay, I am one of those people that, you know, I'm just humbled all the time because I know what God has forgiven me for. I know what God has done in my life. And even the people that I've hurt, you know, it's not so much of the people that hurt me, but even the people that I've hurt, I've learned to ask for forgiveness. And again, sometimes there's people that we're not going to have that opportunity to ask them. But, you know, coming to terms of like, I really am asking for forgiveness, even in my prayer time to God, for that person, for what happened in that situation, and for those things. You know, I've been forgiven so much that when people, you know, do me wrong, I'm able to go back and look back like, God forgave me for so many things. Like, how could I sit there and hold you accountable for that? Or how can I sit there and not forgive you for that, because I know what I've been forgiven for. And so just to put that kind of into context, if you don't know what that means, you know, and then a person who has been shown so much love, you know, will give love, but if they don't, they're not going to show either. So, you know, as much as we receive, we're going to give out, right? So love has no record of wrong. Yes, love has no record of wrong. And that's a great thing. And, you know, one of the things it says in the Bible, you know, it says these greatest things, right? Faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these three things is love. Love is the ultimate greatest thing. Love is what covers a multitude of sins. Love is just the very core of who we are, who we should be, just showing that exact same love that we received and giving it out in return. Yes, 1 Corinthians 13. Okay. I've had to learn to forgive myself. For example, my mom was killed by a young drunk driver in 2006, and holding on to what he did was killing me. I'm starting to forgive for myself and not him. Yes, Nicole. So good that you brought that up, and thank you for being vulnerable and transparent and, you know, open enough to share that with us. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. And yeah, that is such a good thing to talk about, because a lot of the times we forget to forgive ourselves. Like, we hold on to whatever the situation may be, right? We hold on to that shame. We hold on to just holding on to those things that make us bitter, that make us hurt, that make us angry, that you know, all those things that bottle up inside. And we think we think like we're undeserving of that forgiveness. We think we're undeserving of that love. And finding that way to forgive yourself, and that is such a hard process. And it's not an easy process. Again, I can speak from personal experience. You know, I had to find forgiveness in myself for all the things that, like, I've done. You know, again, I've hurt people, people hurt me, just even things that I did not hurting people, just things for hurting myself, you know, like personal things, personal battles, personal addictions, personal stuff. Like, you have to learn to start with yourself and be honest with yourself and learn to forgive yourself. And once you are able to be open and talk about it, and so I love, Nicole, that you shared with us, and again, I thank you for that. One thing that I learned is that we have to learn to open up and talk about it. Again, don't talk about it to everybody, right? There's always those people. You still got to be careful of who you open up to, who you share with. And sometimes, you know, we share things with people who are not so great, but then again, that's where our love and forgiveness come in, right? Sometimes people hurt that trust and hurt those boundaries. But the good thing about it is that we are learning to open up and talk about it. And when we are able to be freely open about those things and be able to freely talk about it, learning to start forgiving ourselves, then we are able to start that healing process and move forward. Because let me tell you, I was a person who held on to things for the longest time. I didn't open up to nobody for nothing. I didn't share nothing with nobody. I was like, it's no one's business. Like, I just keep it to myself. I can't tell you how many nights I would go home crying in my bed. I don't know how many nights I've cried with no one around. I don't know how many times I've cried in the shower, in my car, and then get out wherever I'm at, put a smile on my face, and walk in that room, and I'm totally fine. I never shared anything with nobody. But it wasn't until one day that I finally was like, God, I can't hold on to this no more. Like, this is just too much for me. I just couldn't hold the weight of everything anymore. And it was not until that day that I could ask for forgiveness of myself, forgive myself, and actually open up and talk about it, that I was able to lift that weight off my shoulders and be able to start the healing process, being able to forgive not only me, but to those around me, those that hurt me, those that I hurt, again, both ways, and being able to move forward with that. So I love that, Nicole, and I'm here for you, and there's a group of people on here that are cheering you on and that are here for you as well, because it is a process, and sometimes we forget that things take time. It's not just an overnight instant gratification of learning to heal, learning to love, and learning to forgive. It takes time, but the more we learn to, and the more that we have that, and again, for me, like, knowing what God did for me and that his love for me, helps me to move forward and help others. Let's see. A great strategy is a forgiveness letter. Yes. You don't have to send it to the person. Yeah, like I said, sometimes you won't be able to send it, or you won't be able to call up that person. You might not ever see that person again, but that is a good strategy, being able to write it down, and like really put your feelings, like you're gonna give it to this person, like wholeheartedly, even if you never really do give it to them. You wrote that down with a pure heart, ask for forgiveness. So I love that idea, Michelet, about going and writing it in a letter, because it makes it real and you can hold on to that, right? And sometimes too, I think, like, we forget, like, even if we're holding on to those letters or holding on to those things, you can always go back as a reminder. I guess it would be kind of like a picture, right? You have a picture of your old self, picture of your new self. You can go back and look how far you were, like a weight journey, right? Like, I was this heavy and now I'm this thin, and you always have that thing to remind you of, like, where you came from. So that letter would be a good strategy to be like, this is where I came from, where I started my true forgiveness journey. And remember, like, that first day you wrote it with your full heart of knowing that you truly were asking for forgiveness. So yes, I love that. Sam said in Matthew 6:14-16 says, "For if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses." Yes, and our Father loves us, forgives us probably more than we deserve, and like, what kind of love is that, right? Like, that God would send his son to die for us, right? To die for our sins. And what kind of, like, can you even fathom that? Like, what kind of love that is? Like, even knowing that we might not love him in return, he still got on that cross, died for us, died for our sins, died for the things that we will even still make mistakes for till this day, right? And that's just like mind-blowing type of love. Like, I still to this day cannot fathom that and comprehend that, because it is like, man, even after all the hurt, all the things, all this stuff, and you still love someone like me. So yes, thank you, Sam, for sharing that. And it says, will you forgive me for being misunderstood? Forgive me of my debts, sins, and trespasses, as I forgive others for their debts and sins as well. Matthew 6. Okay, so repeating scripture again. Love is not rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wrong. 1 Corinthians 13:5. Forgive equals letting go. Yes, forgiveness definitely does equal letting go. And always people are like, just let it go and move on, right? It's a process. Again, it's easier said than done. It's hard to let things go, right? We're only human. We only have we have these in our own flesh, right? We have these limitations, but thank God for his mercy and grace that he's able to help us through that. And also, again, how we always talk on here, even community, having those people that are going to help you in that process and that healthy healing, and being able to talk with you in forgiveness, being able to help you in that journey and on that way. And so finding a great community as well. Michelet said 1 Corinthians 13:13, and now these things remain: faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. Yes, learning to forgive self is a challenge. Strongly encouraging counseling, coaching, and joining a healthy community. Yes, and I love that you brought that up, because sometimes I think, right, we think that we don't need counseling. Some of us might not need counseling. Some of us can, find our way through. But sometimes, we need that extra help. We need a counselor. We need somebody. Maybe we don't have a group of community just yet, because I believe you will find that perfect community for you. But maybe you don't have that perfect community just yet. You can seek out counseling. And one thing about counseling, right, and I've learned this because even with me, I always was like, I'm never going to go to a counselor. Screw that. I don't need no stranger knowing my business. They don't need to know anything about my life. I don't need them prying and calling people and saying this and saying that, right? Because we have like certain mentalities, right? Like I used to be like that. But then talking with a counselor, and them not knowing anybody, right, but you able to really just be letting that out and them helping you through the process. It's a good thing. Like, I would recommend it. And you can always find someone who is a fit for you. You don't just find a counselor like random, all right, cool, here we go. Find somebody that is going to be a fit for you. Look up their site, look up what they want to talk about, look about how they feel. Maybe get a free session. I don't know if they have free sessions. Sometimes I think they do. Sometimes there's a little fee to meet with them on the first time, but fill them out. Get comfortable. Like, are you comfortable with that counselor? You don't just have to pick one and choose one, because again, you want to pick the right fit for you. So yes, counseling, coaching, and joining a healthy community. And as those of you who have been on Ignite for a while, we talk about that a lot. Finding healthy communities, finding those friends and those friendships. And we're actually going to be talking about that on week 3 here on Ignite. Shameless plug. But we're going to be talking about friendships. We're going to be talking about who's in your boat, right? Because this whole month is relationships. We got the ship, right? Metaphor. But who's in your boat? Who's sinking it? Is your boat have holes in it? Are there people who, are letting the water come in, sinking it down? We're going to save that, but that's for week 3. Yes, so joining a healthy community. Let's see. Yes, okay, so Michelet put in, a link for counseling at wellness@tphd.org. You can also, Michelet, who is on here, she's been on the show as well, and she is a self-care coach as well, taking care of yourself and helping you. Maybe she is a fit for you as well, so go check her out. Her Facebook page is Michelet. I shouldn't say Michelet. I call her Michelet. Her name is Michelle. Sorry. I'm so used to calling her Michelet. Long story. If you're here on Ignite, you'll know why. But Michelle Sally, you can check her. She has a Facebook page. She has an Instagram page, Michelle Sally. And Michelle, if you want to put your link in there as well for self-care, go ahead and throw that link in as well for you. And maybe you are a fit with her, getting some self-care, starting with self-healing. And taking care of yourself. We got to take care of ourselves first before we can move forward, right? When we talked about forgiving ourselves, moving ourselves, loving ourselves, self-care is huge, guys. So taking care of yourself as well. Yes, and Nicholas, thank you for the prayers out there, for praying for Nicole. We're all praying for you, Nicole. Have you in our prayers, interceding for you and your situation. And for anybody who might be listening and going through things, you can always send in a prayer request. You don't even have to tell us what it is. Just say that you need prayer. You can put in the comments that I need prayer, and we're going to pray for you, because you don't need to tell us everything. We don't need to know everything. If you want to share, that's awesome. That's amazing. And we, applaud your boldness and your, your transparency and being vulnerable enough to share those things that matter to you the most. We don't take it lightly at all. I know I don't take that lightly for one bit. But who knows? God knows, because God knows everything. And us coming together and praying for you and on your behalf, and God can intercede on that for you. And so if you need prayer, drop it in the comments below. Even if this is on a rebroadcast, maybe you're seeing this later on, later down the street. Maybe it's a day from now, maybe it's a year from now. Put it in the comments below, because we're going to keep praying for you, and we're believing, and we know that God is going to change things for you, and we're going to come on your behalf to help you. Maybe you're not strong enough to do it, but you have a group of people. I know you have me. I know there's people on here right now that are watching, that are participating, that love you, that care for you. And that might not make sense to you, because you might be thinking like, how do these people love me? How do these people care for me? But let me tell you, like we've been talking about, we know how much God has done for us. We know how much God loves us, and we know what He's done for us. How could we not love you and show that same likeness and show that same love for you? And we do love you. Even though we don't know you, we still love you, and we care about you, and we want to see you make it through and get in, healthy relationships. We want to see you get past those struggles, get past those things, and learn to love and forgive for yourself, and it's such a great feeling. Like, I cannot tell you, like, the feeling of love and forgiveness. Like, it is just, it's unexplainable. It's not something you can put into words. It really isn't, because unless you experience it yourself, unless you've been through it yourself, and I believe you will. I believe you're going to experience that type of love. I believe you're going to experience that type of forgiveness, starting with you and moving forward to the people around you. I totally believe that with my whole heart. Let's see. Nicholas says, I have overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the power of my testimony. Yes, that is in Revelations. I do know that. And yes, so loving and forgiving. And, to end today on love and forgiveness, because the show is almost over. I know this is probably something you all have heard. I think everybody in the world has heard this scripture, right? It is in John 3:16. It says, for God so loved the world that whosoever, right? It says whosoever loves him. Oh my gosh, I totally got thrown off track. For God so loved the world, right? Yes, okay. Whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. And if you catch that, it says that he so loved, right? That he so loved everybody. He loved you. He loved me. He loved the people that maybe we don't think need to be loved. He loved everybody. It says he so loved the world that whosoever, meaning whoever, right? Whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. And let me tell you, there has never been such a greater love that I've known. There's never been such forgiveness that I've known than it coming from God himself. And, you know, just before I head out really quick, before the show's getting ready to come to an end, I shared this a couple of times, you know, during Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I've shared a couple of my testimonies with you, like where I came from in those depths. And let me tell you, when you feel that love and the love of God, there's no other love than his. I remember being at an altar, right, at an altar call, and just saying, God, like, I can't do this no more. Like, God, I keep coming to you, but today, God, like, I need you to show up. I need you to show me that I matter. I need you to just make yourself real and evident in my life. Like, I just can't move forward, right? Like, just going through these relationships, just a broken girl, not feeling loved and accepted. And, you know, like, I just had my hands open like this, and I remember just being at that altar, and I just remember just this warm embrace, like someone just coming up and hugging me, and like my whole body felt so warm all over. And I opened my eyes for just a second because, you know, again, like, I was at an altar call, but not a single person was near me. Not a single person was by me. Everybody was in their own prayers, in their own, doing their own thing, right? And I just remember that tangible love. I just remember that embrace. And from that day forward, like, I just knew that I was loved like no other love that you can feel. And it's amazing, guys. And all that to say is that there is someone even higher than me. His name is Jesus, that loves you. And you know, talking about love and forgiveness today, here in the chat, thank you everybody for bringing that up. You know, I still want to talk about this, and so if you have more questions or comments, go ahead and, you know, this is going to be rebroadcasted on Ignite with Melissa, so you can share your comments and share your thoughts about love and forgiveness. Go check out the Talk About It Tuesdays. We'll be doing it every week. This week we already went over. And just as a friendly reminder, you know, for next week, y'all, we're going to be doing a giveaway. So stay tuned for the giveaway. We're going to be giving out a date night. Come on, for somebody. It could be for couples. It could be for friends. You know, it could just, you could just be winning it to go. Maybe one day you'll find your boo, okay? After you love and forgive. But we're going to be giving out a date night package next week. So stay tuned on Ignite with Melissa. It's going to be posted on Monday, the directions on where it's going, how you can win that package. Very simple. Love giveaways. It's open to anybody. You don't have to be in a couple. It's just called a date night giveaway. But we're doing it because all about the Valentine love weekend. Come on, somebody. Go find your boo. Tell your boo to quit playing games. Quit playing games with my heart. All right. Who knows who that is? I'm going to send you a Starbucks gift card if you know who that is. But yes, all month long, so not just next week. We're going to be giving giveaways for every single week. Woo! You heard that right. Every single week, starting with next week, we are going to be giving a giveaway next week, the week after, all celebrating Valentine Cupid Love Month, right? Because we love you, our viewers, the ones who are listening, the ones who are watching. And so come out, make sure you hit that like and follow button, turn on your notifications because you don't want to miss out. Monday will be the first the first instructions on how the giveaway is going to work. And so thank you guys so much for tuning in today and sharing and discussing. I love when you guys talk back to me. I love when you guys get involved and we have engagement here on Ignite. I love it. I love it. Next time, I promise we'll get the phone to work. I don't know why we always have troubles with the phone, but I promise we're going to get the phones to work. And so I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in today on here on KUHS's stream. And if no one has told you today, I want to remind you that you have purpose, you are loved, and you belong. So your girl signing out here on Ignite with Melissa. Love, peace, and God bless y'all.